Next up, we've got a lightning talk for you with Mariam John about getting started in the Istio community. Enjoy!
Mariam and I work at IBM and have been contributing to Istio since 2019. This presentation is a collection of slides I have used over the past 2 years to help mentor new contributors to Istio. Istio has a wealth of documentation related to contributing to the projects spread across a number of places like the Istio Wiki, community repos, as well as the user docs. For someone new to the project, it can quickly get overwhelming to go through all these links and keep track of what is where. In this talk, I hope to give a very high-level overview of all the things you need to know about how the Istio community works and how you can get started as a contributor. Using this high-level knowledge, you should then be able to better navigate your way through the Istio docs. We will first start by going over how the Istio community is structured and the various roles and workgroups within the community. The steering committee and the TOC are the two main groups that oversee the project. The steering committee oversees the administrative aspect of the project, including governance, branding, and marketing. The steering committee consists of up to 9 contribution seats based on contributions per company and 4 community seats, which are open to election by the project members. The TOC is responsible for the overall technical direction and product and design decisions. The TOC members are elected by the steering committee from the workgroup leads. In this slide, we look at the different roles within the Istio community. All these are member roles, meaning you need to be a member of the Istio community to take up any one of these roles. A triager triages bugs and issues and assigns priorities and target dates to them. A document reviewer is an expert in a certain area of the project and works to help improve documentation. Istio does quarterly releases, and each release has at least 2 release managers that oversee the release process. Admins are responsible for managing all the infrastructure used to manage Istio, like the Google Drives that host design docs, Netlify, which hosts Istio.io's site, PAL, which is the test infrastructure, and all the Istio communication channels. When you first submit your first PR, you are a collaborator and not a member yet. So even though you can submit PRs to any Istio repos, you cannot have any tests run against the PR. This is where a sponsor can help. A sponsor is a member who knows the collaborator well and can vouch for his or her work and make sure that the content abides by the community guidelines. Istio project is organized into workgroups, and a maintainer is an active member within the workgroup that can approve changes to that area for which they are a maintainer. A workgroup lead is a lead of the workgroup that has the same rights as a maintainer, in addition to setting roadmaps and technical direction for that workgroup. All the roles here in green are appointed by the TOC, and the ones in blues are nominated by the workgroup leads. There are a total of 8 working groups in Istio, and each working group is responsible for the design and implementation of architectural aspects for the area that workgroup is responsible for. Istio has several meetings that happen throughout the week at different times to accommodate contributors from all over the world. There are 3 public meetings and 2 private ones. You can subscribe to the community calendar group to get meeting updates related to community meetings. To get meeting updates related to workgroup meetings and TOC meetings, subscribe to the workgroup meeting calendar. Major community events like IstioCon are discussed in these community meetings. Contributors can also demo the use cases of Istio with a wider community, similar to a meetup. TOC meets once every month. Roadmaps for various workgroups for a given release are discussed in these TOC calls, plus any technical discussions that require TOC approval. Since February of this year, the community has moved to having a single combined workgroup meeting for all the workgroups once a week. Anyone who wants to discuss any issues or features can add their topic to the agenda for this meeting. The steering committee meeting and the product security workgroup meetings are private meetings and are only open to members. So far, I have been talking about how the Istio community is structured around workgroups and roles within the community and its governance model. In the next following slides, we will go over how you can start contributing to the project. Here in this slide, I've quickly outlined some of the important things to do to get plugged into the community quickly. One thing to note is that only members can get write access to these design docs. When you're ready to submit a PR to an Istio repo, you have to sign the Google CLA for Istio to accept any PRs from the user. This gives Google permission to use and redistribute contributions as part of the project. To become an Istio member, there are a couple of prerequisites that need to be met. You must have submitted at least one PR and subscribed to the contributors group. Once you've done that, you need to create a PR updating the members.yaml file in the Istio repo by adding your name to this file. I have linked a sample PR that lists all the checklist items that needs to be met. Here, I've listed a few important links to help you get started and get more information about all the topics we have discussed so far. So now we move on to the final part of this talk, which is how and where to get started with contributions. I usually recommend people new to Istio to start at the concepts page of the official Istio docs. This helps you get a good understanding of what Istio can do and a high-level understanding of the Istio architecture. Install Istio and try out the different features. There are a number of tasks listed in the official Istio docs that can help guide you. Once you start playing with Istio, you may encounter issues and may want to report them. Istio members can triage and decide whether this is a real issue that needs to be fixed or just a misconfiguration. If you find a potential issue with any feature or functionality, you can create a new issue in the main repo. If you find any bugs related to the user docs, you can open issues in the istio.io repo. If you are a regular user of Istio and you discover a potential security vulnerability, we follow a different process for reporting such issues. You need to send a private email to the product security workgroup mailing list describing the vulnerability and details. The product security workgroup members will assess it immediately and let you know if it is an actual vulnerability or not. If it is, they have a process to work on it and provide a fix. All this is done privately, and when a fix is ready, they work with the release managers for all active releases of Istio to issue a patch release. One of the frequent questions asked by new contributors to the project is where to look for easy issues to fix. There are a couple of places you can look at to get started. Istio Docs is one of the first places I recommend. Look at the issues section of the istio.io repo or any Istio repos for existing issues you can work on. While going through the docs, if you find any commands that do not work, typos, outdated information, etc., you can create issues for them and fix it. In the docs, look for the green checkmark on each page to see which pages are tested, and you can help write automated tests for these pages that are not tested. The istio.io repo has instructions on how you can write automated tests to test pages. Once you have gotten used to the process of submitting PRs and resolving issues, and as you gain expertise in an area, you may want to start working on feature requests. The community repo has details about the process of submitting feature requests, but on a high level, this involves creating an RFC or a design doc explaining the feature and presenting it in the combined workgroup meeting to get early feedback. One of the key contributing factors to Istio's exponential growth and adoption over the years has been the fact that it has a great community of contributors. So I wanted to end this presentation with a few thoughts on how you can grow your MNX. Part of the process of being an active member of the project involves actively engaging with the community and being visible. Focus on a specific area within Istio and try to gain expertise in that space by reviewing the code base, writing tests, improving docs, and fixing issues in that area. When starting to contribute, we understand that you will have many questions, which is why it is important to attend workgroup meetings and review PRs and use those as a medium to ask questions. Istio members and maintainers are a great group of people with a great wealth of knowledge and willingness to help. So we encourage you to ask questions, engage with the community early on, and get help when you need it. To all our existing contributors who actively contribute to the project, thank you for your contributions. If you are a new contributor to Istio, I hope this talk will help you navigate through the process better. Feel free to reach out to me or any other Istio members on our Slack channel if you have any additional questions. Thank you.